Leon Bowen is a veteran of the U.S. Navy, having fought in the Vietnam War. But at 74, his pension isn't enough to make ends meet. So he keeps working, having traded warships for cruise ships sailing the Potomac.
And when I joined the Navy, back when I was 18, I was on a ship that was larger than this. I mean, it was a heavy-duty World War II cruiser.
In the U.S., there are two types of retirement plans: the federal Social Security and the private plan that Americans can get through their employer. Bowen's pension alone is not enough to get by.
After taxes, it was $800 a month.
Can you live with that?
It's a little tough to live in D.C. on that, yeah. It's a little tough.
The vet likes to joke about his situation, but the struggles are real.
Now, if you like sardines, you know, you can live pretty good on sardines and crackers. I was joking, but I think I deserve more. Absolutely.
Bowen works 30 hours a week and takes his orders from a boss who is 40 years younger than him.
Leon, good morning.
Morning, Kevin.
Good to see you today. I'm good. How are you? Yeah. You're the senior deckhand for our lunch cruise today. We have a big student group down on first deck, and then we have a couple holiday parties upstairs. So it's a little chilly today. We'd like to get the guests in out of the cold as soon as we can. So if you can make sure that your crew is all changed up, ready to go at 10:30, that way we can get all our guests on the boat.
Okay, roger that, Captain.
It's great to have some older folks around for the maturity and the leadership. Pensions aren't what they used to be, and to make ends meet, I mean, it's expensive. And the extra income, I think, certainly helps them. Social Security is not going to pay all of it in the U.S., so you need some supplemental income oftentimes.
In the U.S., the full benefit age starts at 65, rising to 67 for those born after 1957, while it stands at just 62 in France. Companies are not required to set up private retirement plans, and Social Security only guarantees about 40% of one's pre-retirement income. 1 in 3 Americans lives on that income alone. Nancy Altman, the president of Social Security Works, is fighting to increase Social Security pensions.
It's very, very hard to save for retirement, and you really need insurance, not savings for retirement, which is what Social Security is. It lifts millions of people out of poverty, and it reduces the depth of poverty of millions more.
In the U.S., about 25 million people over the age of 60 live in poverty, and the population is getting older.
The goal is that people not have to supplement their incomes with work. One thing we're concerned about is that as hard as it is now for today's seniors, it's going to be harder for tomorrow's seniors. You've got lots of people coming out of school with very high debt in this country, and you have what the fortunate used to have were big companies that had very generous pension plans, at least for the workers who remained with them for their careers. Those are now disappearing.
Unlike France, where pensions are exclusively managed by the state, in the U.S., most Americans have to put money aside every month on a dedicated account in order to have a pension they can live on. Jessie Decker won't retire for another 20 years, but she's already planning for her retirement.
I don't have a pension the way that you would think about it in most European countries. I have my own investments that I make as an individual through an IRA or through regular investments. I have the value of my house, which hopefully stays high. And then I have the value of my 401k, which is all tied up in the stock market, which right now is really high, but in the past has had some pretty significant dips. And there are people that lost almost all of their retirement value and were not able to retire. I have 2 small kids. They need to go to college. It's much more expensive now than when I went. And so I think we need to help them. And we also need to retire. And it's not easy.
Decker and her husband both have jobs and own a house in the D.C. suburbs. They live comfortably, but still worry about their retirement.
It's like another job, managing your finances and figuring out how it is you're going to retire. It's not like you just spend your focused time on your work life or your home life and your family. You have to be thinking about the long term. And I think that's something that's really difficult for a lot of people. But you do feel like you're kind of left on your own to do it.
The Deckers are working hard to plan for the future and avoid the same fate as Bowen.
At 74, I can
Back
still
when
do
he
it.
joined the Navy, he did not envision himself working into his 70s.
I'm gonna work until the end. You know, like in the Old West, the guys die with their boots on. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna work till I die with my boots on. Yep.
Like Bowen, 9 million seniors in the U.S. are now forced to keep working to make a decent living, twice as many as there were 20 years ago.